Are we living in a simulation? Are we real? Can you prove it? From Descartes to the Matrix, doubting the perception of reality has been an intriguing topic of conversation for centuries. With a tremendous increase in the development of tech, we explore the blurry lines of having our minds tricked into believing that a certain reality is actually a digital creation. What is simulation theory? Simulation theory is the concept that we are all virtual beings living in a computer simulation. So, it's no surprise that the subject is bubbling to the surface again, taking into consideration the radical development and speed of the transformation of technology. Here are some reasons why we might be living in a simulation. Number 1. Missing aliens. We've spent billions sending probes through outer space and should probably have found evidence of extraterrestrials by now, right? Not so fast. Aliens would likely be far more technologically advanced than we are, the thinking goes. So the fact that we haven't located them suggests we live in a simulation they've figured out how to escape from. Or maybe the computer we're in only has enough RAM to simulate one planetary civilization at a time. Number 2. The Mandela effect. Some people claim to remember TV coverage of Nelson Mandela's death in the 1980s even though he actually died in 2013. The Mandela effect is therefore supposedly proof that whoever is in charge of our simulation is changing the past. Or alternately, this is evidence of parallel universes and some individuals have crossed from one universe, in which Mandela died in the 80s, into ours, where he lived to age 95. Number 3. Electrons that can't make up their minds. In physics' famous double-slit experiment, electrons are fired at a photosensitive screen through slits in a copper plate, usually producing an interference pattern that indicates wave-like behavior. But when the same experiment is conducted under observation, electrons behave like particles, not waves, and there's no interference pattern. Some have taken this to mean our simulation is conserving its resources and rendering certain things only when it knows we're looking at them. Number 4. Video games that look like real life. Elon Musk is a believer in Nick Bostrom's simulation hypothesis, which posits that if humanity can survive long enough to create technology capable of running convincing simulations of reality, it will create many such simulations and therefore there will be lots of simulated realities and only one base reality, so statistically it's probably more likely we live in a simulation right now. Further proof that we live in the Matrix, according to Musk, is how cool video games are these days. In 2016, he explained, 40 years ago, we had Pong. 2 rectangles and a dot. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D with millions playing simultaneously. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality, even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is now. It's a given that we're clearly on a trajectory that we're going to have games that are indistinguishable from reality. It would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions. Number 5. We're already good at making simulations, and we're getting even better. In 2014, the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics connected 8,000 computers to create a 350 million light-year simulation of our universe and digitally aged it over 13 billion years. That The Sims video game franchise has sold over 125 million copies in its first decade shows we're interested in playing with simulations, too. If and when a future version of humanity finds themselves with the ability to create more realistic simulations, it wouldn't be a surprise if they opted to use it. Then again, you might be wondering, why does any of this matter? What is the purpose of proving or disproving that life as we know it is merely a digital construct and existence simply an immensely complex experiment in someone's virtual terrarium? But wouldn't it be useful to know what kind of game we're in to increase our chances of surviving and thriving? That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos.